situation bet from the pre-flop 3-bet aggressor. I guess you're running through the math here. You're getting better than 3-1. So if you're stoking, you obviously are entertaining the idea of possibly check raising, or rather raising. Calling is okay too, of course, but this looks like, I think those stacks are 10 million. They are. This looks like it's going to be a raise to about 13 or maybe 12.5. And unfortunately, Jonathan's just like really bricked this flop, and the raise there will do it. So 12 million was the bet. But you know what? If you're going to be pulling an all-nighter anywhere, it may as well be beautiful Punta Cana, Dominican Republic, because you know what? You can get that buffet action until like 5 a.m. Room service is 24/7.
All the alcohol is just flowing, flowing, flowing.
Yeah, they stock your fridge with whatever you'd like, although it's really difficult to just get some regular caffeinated coffee, apparently.
Wow, okay, so this is a pretty aggressive flop here for both players.
Wow.
Have just both flopped massive here.
Yeah, top pair for Little with backdoor clubs up and down for Stokem.
He flopped the nuts.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. You know what? It is 2 in the morning.
Yeah, listen, I forgive you. It is tiring in here. So Jonathan Little has bet out 2.5 million with top pair and a backdoor flush draw, and backdoor bottom into the straight draw. However, Preben has flopped the Nutter Butters, as we like to call them sometimes. What would you like to see him do here, Jesse? Just make a flat or put in a raise?
Well, looks like he's gone for a raise, and I guess given that I can see the cards, of course I like a raise. Jonathan can't get away from one pair here, and of course he's got the backdoor clubs for extra equity. But I can't even read the boards anymore, so I don't know what's going on.
I don't know if it's you're tired or the alcohol. It's one of the two. One of the two.
I kind of stopped like a while ago, so it's not the pretty coherent regardless of things in my system. It might be the hour.
Yeah,
I knew we were gonna get like a dud of a turn that was gonna make.
Where's the deuce of diamonds?
I know, or like the deuce of clubs. I knew it was gonna be a bad card for action.
Yeah, I would have rather liked to see a flat there on the flop from Stock and Sand because he flopped the nuts and he's heads up and it's a rainbow flop. I just think he should have flatted there.
Yeah. I guess once you, if you do continue here, as I assume he will, it's you have to basically, you're taking the line as though you did in fact flop the nuts. And so his hand is really kind of narrowed down, and I suppose Little would, you know, in theory, have hands like Queen-8 suited and King-Queen suited. So, you know, not that it's of any worry for Stoken, but he has to pretty much continue on here after raising on the flop. I like the sizing, actually. Giving him 4-1. Good fold, though.
Yeah, it's a good fold by Jonathan. I mean, after being raised on that flop and the 10 on the turn kind of kills all the action.
Yeah.
Easier for him to get away from it.
So you had some ace-6 or something?
Raise it up here with Jack-4 of hearts.
I like that hand, Jack-4 suited.
He's going to make it 2.2 million. Jonathan's going to defend with the Queen-10.
Queen-10, 5-2 hearts and top 2 pair.
Wow.
We've got another serious cooler.
We have a Yahtzee kind of flop here, so let's see how this plays out.
It's like, here comes like the 5 of spades.
I'm hoping here comes a lot of action is what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I mean, what's our best card?
Our best
Guess it
card is all in the
depends.
flop. That's our best card.
I
Seeing as
kind of
is
just
it-
hope it goes all night. I hope we never leave.
Wow. Well, you can stay here, and I'll be asleep, and I'll come back tomorrow. Ohio, yeah, you do need to sleep soon. South Bend, Indiana. That's where my family is. Not in South Bend, but in southern Indiana. So shout out to you all.
So I believe here's the check raise, and so the effective stack remaining behind Little is 25 million. This could very, very conceivably get in. But he actually just calls. Deuce of spades. I have a feeling Jonathan's going to go pretty big. What do you think he's going to do here? There's 15-4 out
All in?
there.
He just moved all in.
Yeah. And that's the one bet that Soken just can't call.
Nope, not on the turn.
Think you best like 5 million or something?
Yeah, that was so close to getting in, but Jonathan did not want to goad him in there.
60 kanskje. Litt mer enn det. Six, seven of hearts.
Something like that.
Right there. Not a poker player.
Sherbert just coming
You
right
can't
in.
beat
on
a
it.
random author heads up. One amateur in the tournament. You can't beat him. It's a problem.
Jonathan just going with this self-deprecation kind of line. Ace Jack. 2x's it to 2 million. Soken. I think he's sizing up a 3-bet. Kind of random here, just to end up doing this with 8-6. I think that fly from earlier has made its way into the commentary area. It just hit me in the face. So 3-bet sizing is 6.5 million, 4.5 for Jonathan to call. He just has 42 behind. I'm not sure if Jonathan wants to put in this percentage of his stack pre-flop. It's a little awkward with the sizing, but he does in fact make the call. He's left with 38 behind. Just, you know, the pot out there as it stands represents a third of his remaining chips. So King 7-7, this is going to favor, of course, the pre-flop aggressor. And it's kind of a strange texture because if you continue here, what are you repping? So it looks like he will come in for what may be a small c-bet. So it's 4 million. This is interesting because now Jonathan has invested a lot into this pot. Now turns some additional equity, but it's hard for him to know that he's ahead here, but I would expect Soken to slow down, but if he's sticking with the line, then it's super strong. And I think he knows that Jonathan probably folds to a second barrel somewhat often, as of course most players will. So after taking the 3-bet lead, he has in fact checked the turn. And Jonathan checks it back. Now just playing his ace. Stokin playing the board.
Wow.
It's an interesting line. Go 3-bet, C-bet, check, bet. You know what I can say, though? This is going to make for a very good weekly poker hand with Jonathan Little.
Preben keeping up his stoic poker face. Not giving anything off. Hasn't given anything off all day. Not that I've caught. Have you seen anything, Jesse?
No, he didn't even flinch when the fly landed on him. He's cold as ice.
He's next level.
This is pretty much the tournament turning point here for Jonathan. This would be an insane call if he can find it. My kind of like returning mantra for these situations is, does the other person need to bet to win conceivably?
Got to show the bluff on that one.
So Jonathan does fold.
Yeah, show me. I'm happy to see it.
All right.
Nice hand.
So
Seemed
it looks
very
like
bluffy.
he did show the bluff.
Ugh.
Yeah, so we had 103 players. This is the 10K high roller. 103 entries down to our final 2 players, guaranteed at least 175,000 for second place, and first place is 275,000. Heads up between Preben Stokin and Jonathan Little.
I'm all in.
Stokin has moved all in. Okay,
boy.
from the button over to with ace 5 off over to Jonathan Little in the big blind with pocket 3s.
Actually, probably a close one.
This is interesting.
It is close. Wow.
If Jonathan does in fact call here, then I feel like he's giving into the hour and maybe a little frustrated.
I mean, he does have a pair heads up. You see there, he is slightly ahead. It's just the way the action went down, though, because he's taking all of his play away from him.
Pushing that. All right.
Yeah, he's going to make the call.
Does make the call. So he'll leave it to fate, if you
It's
believe
good to
in
see
fate.
ace 5 because
Yeah.
he's probably ace 2 as well. Makes me
That's
feel
true,
better.
Jonathan.
Ace 5 off.
Does make a good point. If it's ace 5, it's also ace deuce.
Oh,
So
no
a
set.
clean flop so
Oh,
far for Jonathan.
No set.
King for deuce. Ah,
Oh, there's the ace. And
Brutal
one
turn.
card. And
whoa.
wow.
Oh,
so
my
the set
God.
comes in. That's a straight or rather.
What a bad beat
Again.
there on the river. Oh, depression. Well, there you have it, folks. Preben
Thank you.
Nice.
Stockin going to take
How do I
down
leave?
275,000.
Nydelig. Nydelig.
Say good game to
Ja,
Jonathan
klasse,
Little,
klasse.
who's taking home 175,000 for his efforts tonight.
Off, I'm off.
Rail joins him on stage. They
thank you,
must be happy. It's still early enough for them to go out. It's 2:30 in the
man.
morning.
That's right. Maybe they're going to hit up the player party if that's still happening
Yeah.
over there at the bar.
Yeah, it's a good game to both.
Yeah, good game to both.
Jonathan
Definitely well
brings
played.
back 175K to his wife and baby boy.
Ja, greit.
And we continue to roll along. About 130 players remain. Once again, 80 will cash. We will make the money today. And as always, that's pretty exciting.
Didn't expect it from me. That's
David
good.
Peters on 491,000. Kristen on 389. Mike Leah on 326. A lot of chips at this table.
Thank you. Great.
And under the, especially against early position opens, under the gun +1 raise, a +2 call. You're just easily dominated when you have Queen 8. Heads up to the pot, to the
This
flop.
was my glass
Pot is
already.
28,000. You know, obviously 2-pair plus is ideal. Clubs are good, but draws can be tough to play from Adam. Kristen bets 12,000. Higgins goes nowhere. I mean, at this point, she knows Ace-9 is probably not the best hand. She's going to put out a second bet. Try to get those Ace-Kings and Ace-Queens. Ace-King's not always 3-betting. Just like Jacks aren't always 3-betting. But I think when he calls a second time, you have to narrow his range a little bit and think that he probably has something like 10s or Jacks. 9s, I should say. And she gives up. They'll say that this is oftentimes to check back. She's certainly considering it. I don't think she's thinking of calling. And she picks a better spot.
Sounds good.
Is there a bluff?
Sorry?
I said, are you going to show the bluff?
Yeah, full house.
You had a what?
Full house, I think.
Full house. Is there a full house possibility? No. Nice thing.
Levels are 90 minutes long.
You're gonna get it in.
Q-Bomb says, do you try to avoid
Yeah.
spoilers in the booth? Tuck. Yeah, it's pretty easy actually, because I'm I'm locked away in this sound room, so I have no access to actually watching it. So I have no idea. Like I have no idea what actually happened in this hand. I can
Pocket nines.
guess that this will go 3-bet, and then Razab will have to decide. Obviously, do I want to play for my tournament or not? Zamper says free
So I
money,
say
free
that's
beers. I
10
like everything free. Exactly. Who doesn't
10
like
jack
free
diamonds.
stuff? When he raises under the gun, he's already telling everybody that he has a huge hand. And Bicknell heard that message loud and clear and still 3-bet. Think there's any way he can get away from the hand. And I'd happily go with it. And I could be totally off base here, and feel free to let me know if I am. But I think if you pick this hand up with it under the gun, I mean, at this point, you can't fold, obviously. Yeah, and he's going to move all in. She's going to call.
Queens and aces.
And he's in a lot of trouble. She could have had kings. She could have had ace-king. And that's the end of Razab.
That's part of it.
He's just not doing, with ace-queen suited from out of position, he's just not doing really well against that range.
Seven days, 9,000. One four, two four. Three four.
Also in the hijack. Kristen says, yeah, 3 deuce, why not? Maybe I get lucky. And maybe not. Top pair here for Higgins. I'd be dead wrong.
15,500.
Queen B, you did not miss a big hand. That is not a 9.
Oh, sorry.
An ace. A heart. He's going to double barrel here. And from what we've seen of this particular player, oh, and how about he gets there? And after check calling the flop and check calling the turn, now Higgins is like, you know what? Now I'm going to bet top pair. I'm going to wait till my opponent gets there, and then I'm going to bet it.
Simon, you're bluffing to me. Again and again.
Oh, Mostanoglu, don't talk and then raise.
What are you gonna do if I re-raise you?
Hashtag live tele alert. Yeah, it just looks so strong. I know I can see the cards. And I'm sure it would be a much more difficult spot if I was at the table. And look at that. Well, he sold it. Higgins bought it.
Not this time.
Monster pot, by the way. Higgins with the raise and the cutoff now. Peters in the big blind is going to defend. Dominated ace. Now Peters has the ace of spades. Higgins, of course, top pair with the ace kicker.
Seven bet 9,000.
What happened?
So pretty sure I did not.
So was I. So was I. I'm all in.
All in?
How much?
He's kind of telling the story that he has 2 pair plus. So you start thinking of some of the hands, and great laydown by Peters. Some of the hands he might have
Oh, we
4,
all wanna know
5
those cards badly.
possibility.
Do we
Ace
have to
8,
wait?
It
Can
seems
we
so.
pick one?
No,
Ace
No.
deuce
it seems so.
are certainly possibilities. I think Peters thinks that his opponent might have bet
Thank you.
ace queen on the turn if he had a hand that strong. But as we can see, he actually checked the ace queen back. The plan is, after this break, our next
you.
featured table will have the defending champion of the World Series of Poker Europe main event, Kevin McPhee.
In Malta.
Malta? Many years ago?
Bicknell with a gutter
You knocked me out.
I knocked you out.
and a flush draw. Not going to fold. Both players with a lot of chips behind. You can see that in the top left corner of your screen. Pot is 51-5. Now, if she bets again, she's essentially repping a 5 or a flush. Or she's going to have bluffs. So, because of that, I would imagine that her bet size should be a little bit on the larger side. Has over 700,000 at this point. Raise from Peters once again in the hijack. Mike calls. Imagine Higgins will call as well. Well, the pre-flop raiser's not going to like this. Peters wearing the blue sweatshirt. Higgins is going to call. Obviously, neither player has a flush draw, though. Higgins does these kind of unconventional leads. There's the call. Pot is 122,000. Jack-7 of hearts. 9-6 of hearts. Yeah, a lot of those kind of hands also that he theoretically could have. But when he check call and now that he's betting here, I mean, he's basically telling the story that he's got King Jack.
They're like, again, I don't know exactly how close they are to the money. Yeah, I think I like a fold. It's an action flop.
Yeah, for sure. Iroka should be able to get some value out of this one. So a stack of yellow would be 100,000 chips. Iroka's going to check ace-queen. And maybe for people like you don't need it, but, you know.
I may start to implement it after seeing how good all these other guys do.
Right? I mean, it can't hurt, right?
Yeah, it can hurt. Got to try it.
Step up my scarf game. Check, bet, call.
Wow.
The pros and cons of check calling with the ace-queen as opposed to just betting it.
I wonder if Rocca can get away from this. I have a feeling he's going to.
Not on one bet, though. No. You think so?
I think he may be able to. It's a pretty big bet, too.
39 into 60?
It's hard to find hands you can beat.
Wow, and he lets it go.
Good
That's
fold.
why. That's why you're the best. Reese the Beast. McPhee looks like the way with his all black hat and the black glasses. Kind of feel like it's like Jason Bourne.
I see that.
You know, it's like his Jason Bourne look.
He's very calculated. He doesn't get out of line. I think he used to get out of line. I know a lot of people probably remember his ace-9 hand against Vanessa Selbst. He doesn't do that as much anymore. Oh, Thomas is all in here.
All in from the cutoff for
And
71,000.
He's gonna be called.
It certainly looks that way. It's a 14 big blind shove. Now, I think this is a spot where people struggle with when somebody shoves here and you've got a hand that you want to at least call with. Are you always calling? Are you sometimes shoving over the top? And what are the determining factors?
Based on his stack size and the fact that he's covered behind, he shouldn't be shoving any hands over the top. He should just be calling his whole range.
So he's calling with aces to trap, but
and
he's also
even like ace king, you can just call. And I mean, you're not gonna fold after that, I assume. But if you're gonna call with if you're gonna call with aces, you want to call with like your ace jack hands as well.
And then 5 on the turn.
Thomas looking for a lot of clubs or possibly a 5. There is not much hope for him there. Maybe running 5s or possibly running straight cards. Nope, he's drawing dead. And Thomas, unfortunately, falls short of the money. And a 5 on the river just to put a little bit of salt in the wounds. There's Luca, our tournament director. Does a great job here at King's Casino. The long walk
Luca
out of the
Gator,
casino.
We have a big game this weekend in Columbus. I will be there.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
Leaving here and going straight home. Of course,
Straight to Columbus.
for those of you who don't understand the passion that Americans have for college sports, I don't know how to explain it, but the passion is there. In fact, the passion for college sports is there. It's the same passion.
Oh yeah.
And
May have had friends that are on the team. You get season tickets every year. I love college athletics. The basketball team is going to be really good this year too.
it's just the loyalty for your college team. It runs deep. There's nothing really to cheer for. So now I find myself cheering for, but the loyalty is just not there for me because I'm like, okay.
Where did you go?
I went to Hamilton College in upstate New York, which is a small little liberal arts school, which, there's no...
No athletic teams or big.
There are,
big
but
no Division I teams
Yeah.
or anything. Yeah.
30,000?
Yeah, Viard shouldn't have many aces. Ace 10 and ace jack are the only ones, and it's kind of surprising that he didn't do anything more aggressive pre-flop with this hand, but.
my own assumption is so close to the money with a hand that he didn't want to 3-bet and then get 4-bet all in and be like, what do I do now? Let's see. Pot is 110,000.
Let's see if Ole goes for it here. He definitely has it in the arsenal.
Is this a good hand for him to do it with?
He has a 10, which blocks the straight. He
And
didn't
there it
go
is.
for it.
Jack 10 was already there. There was no flush draw. Even the turn didn't bring a flush draw. So, I mean...
Oh, and he folded.
And he lets it go. I mean, what bluff, except the unnatural bluff, what natural bluff is there?
Yeah, there are none.
Еще раз. Да, конечно. Ну, меньше, ну какая разница? Там пятерки от троек.
Ooh.
Wow, a little sweat here.
Пятерки от другой парень ничего не отличается.
Let's get a spade on the turn.
Yeah, it's not a free roll.
Okay.
Oh, and there it is.
There we go.
Look at this. It's exciting.
Oh!
Oh, wow.
I was nervous.
I didn't ask for the one on the river, just the turn.
Yeah. Oh, man. Tough way to get knocked out, just a few away from the money.
У него флажок
I mean, I don't want to say it's like Connor Drynan-like. Of course, Connor Drynan in the 1 million.
Is there two spades out there?
Is that? Oh, yeah, two
Yeah.
spades. So he had a straight flush. He had an open-ended straight flush draw. 8-7 of spades. Gold had 4-3, so he was open-ended on the other side of it. Ooh, a straight here.
Oh,
Wow! What a cooler! What an insane flop.
Especially because he knows that Roca has something to bet that flop. He's not going to bet his ace queens and ace kings.
Play-Doh spinning trees, lots of silly sweets. So fun to create Play-Doh cookies and cupcakes.
To bet that flop, he's not going to bet his ace queens and ace kings and random air hands. So he knows that Roca has a good hand just to bet.
I mean, he might even occasionally check some of his overpairs, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very scary flop. If you have aces, that's not the flop you want to see.
I mean, if the hand is not played fast, maybe there's a 6 or a 10 or a jack comes off to slow it down, but here comes the check raise.
Yeah, he has to check raise.
Whoa, relax.
Wow.
And you can see Ole cannot win this pot. He can only chop it.
It's a very big check raise, too. Is that correct? 55,000?
That's what it looks like. If I can see the stack, if I can see the chips in front of him, I can let you know if it's exactly right. But no reason not to think it is.
For some reason, I would guess that he would make it a little bit smaller. I would guess like 47 or so, but it's
And you could be right on.
Yeah.
You occasionally get it wrong.
35 more. 48.
Makes the call.
48-5.
Ole, a jack or a 10
Hello.
is kind of what he needs. Maybe a 6.
Oh, it's a bad card.
That is a really bad card.
And they're so deep behind, and Roca's just gonna let him barrel off. Ole's gonna need a 6, 10, or jack on the river.
I mean, not even backdoor. There's not even a backdoor flush. In terms of strategy, when you assume Ole is going to bet reasonably large here, so he can shove on the river. Should Roca be raising the turn ever, just to avoid a scare card coming off to kill his action?
It's a really good question, actually.
Raise? I mean, should we be giving our opponent enough rope to hang themselves? Or should we be raising occasionally?
I think we should always call, because if you raise and Ole has like 8-9 or something, he's gonna hate his hand. Not that he would necessarily play 8-9 like this, but
what a run out! Pot is 305,000. Ole only has 262 behind. What a cooler! And there's the all in, and there's a snap call, and he goes, ugh. Wow.
That's a brittle hand.
I don't know. Have to go on maybe 3K.
Like
3K.
This pot is 829,000 chips. I think we have a new chip leader.
Yeah.
A little over 300.
And they're gonna count this out, but we can tell you that Ole has been eliminated.
What a turn of events from running spades, runner spades.
Yeah.
To this right afterwards.
Man.
It's a good 5 minutes for Roca.
It's going out with a short stack on the bubble kind of hurts, you know, or like 20 bigs, where you could have made it if you just hold on.
85.
But, you know,
Especially playing in like in a marginal spot when, yeah, and like, let's say you've got like 14 bigs and you're like, I could probably just hold on here, and you get knocked out in a marginal spot where it's like, man, even if I had won that pot, I'm still only gonna have like 27 bigs. It doesn't really change that much.
Yeah.
But we saw right before the last break. Ole got knocked out by a gentleman on a 7-8-9 rainbow board. Ole flopped bottom straight, 5-6 versus Jack 10.
That's
and
tough.
it was an 840,000 chip pot.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
But that was going out, you know,
But yeah, you can't do much about that if you straight over straight. It's not your day, you know.
And McDonald makes the call in the big blind with 7-3 suited, and he's got a gutter with no spades though out there.
I'm not sure about this defend with like on the bubble. I don't know how deep McDonald is, but it looks like Maria's got him covered. So it's actually gonna be hard for him to like find good spots to bluff with 7-3 suited, which you kind of need to if you're gonna defend with it. But you know, maybe he thinks that he's gonna be able to win this pot more often than maybe he should.
And it's funny, I mean, if this flop was king 5-4 with just one spade, 7-3 of spades is actually not like a terrible hand to check raise with, right?
Yeah, you kind of smash the board, really. I mean, this is this board with a spade would be about as good as you could hope for with 7-3.
Right. Well, an interesting turn card for him.
Yeah, so McDonald goes for the check call, just to, you know, not a pure float, but a pretty big float. He's just hoping that Maria's going to assume that he has some sort of showdown value and check back turn so he can stab river. This is an interesting turn though, because he's now got a double gutter, which is always nice, and well, Maria's obviously smashed this card pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, she's got the, I mean, unless our opponent has deuce 3, which he called it 7-3, so he could have deuce 3. She has the second nuts right now.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for him to rep deuce 3 at this point. I mean, he's going to be trying to rep ace 4, ace 5, or, you know, slow played 4s or 5s on the flop.
I mean, if you call a flop, you can't really fold the turn now. You're getting nearly 4-1. You've got a double gutter.
Yeah,
deuce or 6.
It's a pretty ugly spot for McDonald now, actually, because, you know, he has got the double gutter, but check raising isn't that credible in this spot. So, yeah, he kind of has to fold.
Why?
Well, if he check calls the turn, what is he going to do on the river? Even if he hits, like, it's hard for him to get value. Well, I mean, he kind of has to hit, really, is the point. Like, if he misses the river, he can't just, like, lead out as a bluff, because he does... Yeah, hijack, shove. I mean, his hand is very strong, and it's going to go through a lot because he has an ace, which blocks a lot of the calling range. And when you get called, your equity is pretty good. The bubble is 1.5 times the buy-in, technically. So you don't need to play as tight as if it was, you know, like 2 or 3 times the buy-in. You also want to ask yourself, can you fold to the money easily, first thing. Okay. So if he had 5 big blinds there, it's going to be...
He is also very short. I think he's 100% folding here. I think he's just... I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, I thought he's not shoving. I mean...
Right, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, pretty easy to defend here with ace-5 suited.
Yeah.
You know, unless the bubbles burst, in which case you can just go all in. I'm assuming. You said he has 10 bigs, yeah?
Yeah. I misspoke on the thing. Ooh.
It's going to be hard for him to get away on this board. Yeah, this should go check, check, check most of the time, unless M-Rakes is feeling it. Yeah, he's... Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this bet by M-Rakes. The player who's... McDonald in the hijack's going to pretty much hit this board with most of his hands that he calls you with in position.
Except this exact hand.
Yeah, this exact hand, but even with this hand, he's still going to make a call here.
What's the play with your Kasuf? Are you just calling, or are you shoving all in?
Yeah, this is a pretty ugly spot for Kasuf now. I think once McDonald calls, like, you don't have a lot of fold equity, so...
Yeah, he's only got, what does he have, 66,000?
Yeah, he probably...
Game's so much easier from the booth, isn't it? Just shove, William.
I don't know. It was
You're going to get 2 folds.
The game was pretty tough for me when I wasn't in the booth. Yeah.
Well, it's easier here.
Yeah, it is easier in the booth.
M-Rakes, by the way, with 847,000.
Yeah, so I mean, he's just going pretty wild at this point.
And Kasuf moves all in.
Oh, come on. Easy. Wow.
M-Rakes somehow gets out of the way.
Someone's going to snap corner. Bowl of rice. I'll take it.
That's a big pop by that.
Yeah.
He basically doubled up without seeing a turn.
Yep.
So sick.
Yeah, the ICM pressure just kind of collapses as soon as the bubble bursts. Okay, so we're picking this up on the turn, and McDonald's turned a set versus a second pair and a straight draw.
Yeah, that's an action card, huh?
Yeah, this will go check call, and the river card will make a will be the interesting thing about this hand.
Yeah, you can see the chips behind on the left side of the screen, guys. Kempe with 602,000 behind. McDonald with 138,000 behind. Yellow chips are 5K. Blue chips are 25K. And now Kempe makes 2 pair. Obviously, can't beat diamonds, can't beat a 6, and he can't beat McDonald instead of 3s.
Yeah, will be interesting to see. Rayner could lead out here. This card is, in general, better for his range than McDonald's. So a card that you can for sure do some leading on. Problem for Kempe is, though, that like, if he leads, he can't really call a raise. Not that McDonald's going to raise too often, but it is also pretty hard for him to get value. Like, McDonald has what is McDonald going to call him with here? I guess just like an 8 that he checked back the flop. Seems unlikely. So it's pretty hard for him to have a flush. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this bet.
And McDonald makes the call. I don't think he was ever folding. I think he just thought, could I raise? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, he's just putting the pieces together. I think his hand is a pretty clear call.
I kind of find that I do that sometimes with passwords where it's like, oh, okay, I forgot my password. I'm going to change it. And then you change it to the password that you use a lot.
Yeah.
And you realize that was the password.
And it says, yeah, this pass, you cannot use the same
Yeah,
password.
you can't use the same one. You're like,
no, that's useful information.
That's the only one I have. I don't know what's going on with William Kassouf. He must be sick. I haven't heard a peep out of him. I mean, ever since the ace-5 of clubs hand, where he was just like, oh, I thought you were going to call me.
He did a bit of talking in the big blind. I mean, it must be considering a 3-bet. No, it just calls.
Hey, now that you play these high rollers, is there one player, of all these amazing players that we know about, is there one player that you would least like to have on your left? Who would it be?
A small blind, like 7s or something. He can just call in the big blind, and a lot of players will just take that option because, you close the action and you get a discount, and et cetera, et cetera. So
This might actually be one of the worst hands he has when he shoves.
Could well be, yeah. Yeah, I mean, even if he has ace-jack suited, it's like, oh, no.
He's going to go with it. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, if he has ace-jack suited plus, 9s aren't doing very well against that range, is it?
Yeah.
Still okay, I guess, but...
No, ace-jack suited is kind of the deciding hand for Nash. Like, if it's ace-queen plus and, 10s plus, then you're not in a great spot.
Yeah. Nonetheless, though, ace-queen versus 9s, and I have no doubt that the ace or queen are coming.
No doubt?
No doubt.
You want to... Oh, okay.
I
was about to say you want to bet on it, but...
and I don't lose. I'm like 91% on prop bets.
Oh, yeah?
In the booth.
I've been here, but...
I don't know who'll be sadder to see me go, me or you.
I think I used up all my...
It's cost you more money than it's going to cost me.
Mental energy on the 100K. I played it really, really badly in the main event.
Yeah. Well, the first step is knowing it. Saliba rushed back to the table just in time to get her hand. And she sees ace-jack offsuit. Ooh, Kassouf under the gun +1. Some notables still in the field with chips. Feraldo, who we mentioned. First Scotsman to win a bracelet. And he completed the Triple Crown with that bracelet earlier this week in a 25K high roller. Very accomplished player. Plays a lot of the high rollers and super high rollers on 770,000.
Nice. Where's my
Grissom on 400,000. Our chip leader at the moment, Andre Bogian from Romania on 1.1 million.
Is this
Maria checks, relatively dry board. Saliba's going to put a continuation bet out there, and Maria quickly folds, tapping the table.
Flop.
Didn't
It was a good flop
need
on
to.
my hand as well. I think it would have gone in.
Flop in my hand.
If I saw that flop, I think I was all in, so. But now I've decided I'm just going to gamble with absolute coconuts. So I'm going to put these on, as you can see. For the last 10 minutes for the fanboys and fangirls. It's gambling with absolute coconuts, that's it. You with it? What's it say, Viv? Coconuts, right? I can type whatever you want and it comes across my face. Just the coconuts. With this stack, I'm not messing about now.
Who's missing here?
Viv Saliba. Same table, same line.
Asi kvůli tomu, že jsou tady 2 buchty, ne? Tak se pokračuje tady na tom. 3 buchty. 3 buchty. Promiň.
92 you've got there.
Indeed. What am I? 4-8 now. One hand bingo, right? Who wants to double me up? Any volunteers want to double me up? Any volunteers? No? You read the glasses before the break, only with the coconuts, right? Gambling with absolute coconuts. I can't
Can
really
I
play
call
it.
the clock on him to
I'm
do
all in.
something?
I'm all in. There you go. You can if you like. I'm all in.
I
Get my
wouldn't
chips in
do
your-
it. I don't call the clock on anything.
You got it, you got it.
I haven't even looked.
You can have a look if you like.
That's very nice of you to give me permission.
Thank you.
Double.
No?
Playing
I've
blackjack.
got the coconuts. I told you, you don't believe me. The coconut, you read it on the face. Look, I'll show one card. Ace of diamond, right? One card. Keep showing one card, right? Watch carefully. I only do magic. I only do magic just on this day.
Sorry.
Wow, look at. Could you believe it? Could you believe it, Ren? Just one card. Keep your guessing. Unbelievable, Jeff. How do I not get a caller there? Picks up the absolute coconuts. You can't
You
make it up.
told us on the glasses.
First
We
set.
knew already.
Good read, guys. I had it.
Oh, God.
He had it. He
Ace
had
high,
it.
good kick it.
Welcome back to the 2017 World Series of
I'll get
Poker
the
Europe.
there. So sick.
We are here for the main event, but hey, maybe we'll have a short day on Thursday. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. And maybe they wrap it up earlier than scheduled. But normally these things run the length of time they plan on.
Yeah, if anything, my guess would be they would just take a level out. Are ready to get out of here. Who knows how it plays out? And almost in this exact same spot, I thought she would have set the 3-bet.
Yeah, I mean, she has kind of an awkward stack size for it.
Is that what it is?
She has like 44 bigs or something. You can't really call a 4-bet.
Right.
And
Oh,
that is a good
wow.
flop for ace-4.
Oh, man, and it's so hidden. I mean, it's one thing if he flops the ace and you're like, oh, okay. But on that flop, she's going to have to think 7s are good.
Marrakesh.
At least one straight, probably 2, right?
Yeah.
Depending on the sizing.
On most turns.
Oh. This is a similar hand, by the way, where I got knocked out by Maria in the main event. Not this year, but last she made the wheel.
Oh, no.
Wow, what a hand this is developing into.
No, you're right. I mean, she shouldn't really be thinking about folding this hand.
That's what I mean. I'm just thinking, if we're 200 big blinds deep and you're playing a cash game and you got a set, okay, well.
Probably against Marrakesh, I would take an unbalanced approach. Probably lead with hands like this because he just seems like the kind of guy who's he's not going to fold a lot of hands on this turn, but he is going to have a lot of hands to check back. So leading for value on this turn is actually going to be a pretty good move.
Okay, well, she got what she wanted.
And yeah, it's just when you look at the stack that she has behind.
Right, is he
like
really good? Well, she's still got 200,000 behind, doesn't she?
I
She's
think
got
she has
3 blue.
150 now, right? That's 75, right?
75, 80, maybe she's got like 160 behind.
Yeah. It's just asking a lot for someone to then shove in on the river after you bet call a raise.
No, she can't beat it. If he was making a move with like ace high spades, she can't beat that.
He doesn't have spades very often, I don't think.
No.
So yeah, I mean, most of the time you just call the turn lead with if he has ace high spades at least. Maybe he raises like low spade draws. So
fair enough.
I mean, it's still pretty thin with 2s and 3s, but it's like, yeah, it's pretty hard to check them back. Just on the occasion that your opponent has.
Wow, he
checks.
checked it.
Wow. He's not happy about it.
Well, I mean, when in all fairness, if I'm Maria and my opponent checks this back, I'm like,
Yeah, you're pretty happy with 7s.
oh, I'm like, I got it.
Yeah, especially when you show your hand and he looks not pleased. But yeah, she dodged getting stacked there.
Wow.
Imagine this will be all in.
Big hand for a blind and blind. I can't raise half my stack. I've got very big hands, but you got it, right? You got aces or kings. Good luck to you. I'm all in.
All in?
Oh, come on. Another cooler, line up line. Any fours about? On time. I'll take a chop as well. Good
I like
call.
how Rand doesn't waste any time, though.
Reyna,
Take a
yeah.
chop. Any
He's all
fours about?
business.
4
2,
dimes?
3, 5.
Oh, he's got a sweat.
Deuce, any four.
Looking for a 4 or
Deuce or
deuce.
four, once or twice.
I take a 9.
All right, deuce or a 4.
Oh,
Wow, we're
Or
6.
six.
deuce
Bingo.
4, 6.
Ah,
Yeah, that
one
was-
hand. That's all I needed.
Good game.
I like it. Good go, man.
Bye.
Nice meeting you.
Once it folds them the blinds, that was always going to happen, right?
Standard, yeah.
Easy shove, easy call. Raising the hijack. Baruch picks up ace-9 of clubs in the button.
And he's got less than 200,000, right?
Yeah, he's got about 150, say 180, 175.
No, just calls. Okay. Playing it pretty defensively. This is a hand that he could probably shove with his stack size. McDonald making kind of a tight fold in the big blind.
Sorry.
Yeah, surprised to see him fold Jack 7 offsuit there. Considering we saw him call 7-3 suited. And I imagine this will go bet, and then Baruch can either shove or call here. I think given the size of bet, he should probably just call.
I mean, if she's missed, she's probably going to check and give it up on the turn anyway, right? Is that your thought process?
Yeah, I mean, she should actually be checking this flop a decent amount of the time.
Even with his stack?
Yeah, I mean, this board is a lot better for the in-position player in general. So, you know, it's like not a board that she can just bluff every time.
I see. So if she's not going to be bluffing with it, she shouldn't be doing it with aces either.
Well, no, I mean, betting aces is obviously fine on this board, but I just mean she's not going to bet it that high a percentage of the time.
I got you.
In general.
Well, Baruch has raised to 46,000.
This is an interesting choice. I mean, he's kind of made his hand harder to play, because if she shoves now, he's like in a pretty ugly spot.
I mean, isn't it just? I mean, I would assume you're raising the call off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he can fold.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But
I feel like raising actually made it like a really easy for him. Now, these two, by the way, might really be familiar with each other because they're both Brazilian. Doesn't mean they are, but I know the Brazilian poker community is somewhat small. I don't know if they. I know Saliba is down there. I don't know if Baruch is or not, but. Intriguing. Hard to imagine these chips not going in at this point.
yeah, I don't imagine. I mean, Saliba kind of has an easy shove here, I think.
If you got two pair, if you got a set, so be it.
Yeah, I mean.
Well played.
Yeah.
You deserve it.
Yeah, and you get value from like other overpairs as well.
Well, and Baruch probably thinks he's got 12 outs. He probably thinks, okay, I can hit my ace. Maybe she's got queens, but I can hit my ace and I can hit a club.
Yeah, ace is definitely the worst hand for her to have. Well, other than a set.
How about an 8 for a sweat? Real sweat. Oh, how about
just
no
a flop.
sweat? Just 0 sweat. Just boom, double up. Baruch with the full double up there to 397,000.
People's get quite heated.
Sick Lids 11 says, maybe by showing the 4s, it tightens people up a little bit when he's in the big blind, rather than thinking they can just steal from him. Anything to that?
Possible. Yeah.
Oh. So
Bit
after
of a setup
losing
here.
aces, she had a lot of chips. She had almost 500,000 chips at one point. After losing about 40% of her stack with aces, she finds herself in a situation with 10s against Rayner. Now this is like, I think this is Rayner's first 3-bet. Really hasn't gotten out of line.
Yeah, he's not had a lot of hands to get involved with so far. Thing is, though, when you're Reina Kempe, you kind of don't need to build up an image at the table.
No.
because, you know, everyone knows that you know how to 3-bet light.
Saliba's got 37 big blinds behind. What's the play with 10s out of position against the extremely dangerous German?
Yeah, it's a very awkward spot to play, really.
Hands too good to fold.
Clearly too good to fold. You're just slightly quite deep for a shove, but I think that probably still is the play. I don't think 4-betting to induce makes much sense. And, well, I mean, you can call, for sure. I mean, Reina's made it pretty small here. She's made it 19K, he's made it 56.
Can't call?
No, you can call.
You can call.
Yeah. And I don't mind calling here. I think if you think Reina's, like, you know, pretty polarized here, like he's not 3-bet calling off 9s, which I think is reasonable, then I think you could probably just flat, especially with the size he's made it, like less than 3x. I think you can just flat here and you know, hope to play a small pot.
And you're not really concerned with playing against a hand like ace-3 suited from out of position. Saliba moves all in. Reiner immediately calls and flips his hand over. I love the way he does it, by the way.
He is very
calls and
fast.
puts his chips out and his cards over right away. I want to touch on the whole 3-bet polarized range and after this run out. Saliba looking for some clubs or
not looking good for her now.
No, she is drawing nearly dead.
Running 10s.
Yeah, running 10s is the only way to do it, and that's not going to happen. And the very talented Brazilian Viviane Saliba, who satellited her way into this. She won the ladies event playing at the 888 Live poker tournament in London. Viviane, absolutely lovely and very talented poker player. Certainly not the last we've heard of her. Wow.
Yeah, this is a flop.
Yeah, we pick up the action. We don't know what happened, but I think we can assume it went raise, call.
Yeah, call by Marrakesh.
Raise, call, and Kempe called as well. By the way, Kempe's got a 7. Okay, so obviously it's not a 9 or a 5.
I was really hoping you had the 9 there, but
yeah, that would have been pretty interesting. Now, this is the interesting thing about this, by the way, is Marrakesh's hand is completely under-repped.
Yeah, as is Baruch's. I mean, he's gonna go for the check raise. Is it? No, check call. Check call. I like this.
Well, I mean, you can't put your opponent on much. You've got top set.
Yeah.
Right. I mean.
Well, that's paid for the wine anyway.
Yeah, I really like this check call by
look on the
Baruch.
positive side of things. Not that
It's a flop where you shouldn't really be betting that much versus under the gun +1 flat.
And does
I mean,
Marrakesh, does he get into, oh wow,
No.
little pot control here with kings. Amazingly, this hand is like, I mean, there's only 126,000 in there.
Yeah, this pot could be a lot bigger. Very surprised he checked back the turn there, to be honest.
about 30 minutes behind the
Yeah. I think it'll be.
I mean, you
soon.
can't really expect Baruch to have 5-7 or 10 jack.
Sure today.
No, I mean, obviously final time or later stage, they definitely will, but maybe
And I'm assuming this is going to go bet call depending on the sizing.
Yeah.
I'm guessing by this camera angle that Baruch's checked. No, he's
No,
betting,
no,
yeah.
he's
okay.
got this. He can't check this now, can he? Unless he wants to check raise river. That'd be pretty sweet.
Well, that's what I was wondering about.
Yeah.
Be kind of a money line, but it's very, very hard to check in this spot.
I think,
You're terrified your opponent's going to check back. The problem is you don't think your opponent can have much. It's like, what does your opponent have here? 10s?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, basically. I mean,
You made them.
I mean, obviously we can see kings, and we know that, but I'm just saying, you know,
pretty hard to put Marrakesh on a hand here, you know, for betting the flop, checking back the turn. I mean, it's kind of a card where you'd expect him to continue with most of his bluffs, the 9. So he kind of is, you know, it kind of seems like he has jacks or 10s most of the time.
if you think he has a lot of 10s and 9s in his range, what's your sizing on the river? He bet 75 into 125. And Marrakesh makes the call. And nobody will ever know what he had.
Well,
I mean, they will in 30 minutes, but
yeah.
Baruch has no idea that he actually got ripped off. Like, he should have doubled up.
Yeah.
Andreas Eiler was heads up versus him. Eiler didn't play bad. I thought Dom was better, but Dom also got more. he was hitting more flops. You know, so it's a combination of playing well and hitting hands.
Yeah. That quite often makes
Yeah.
makes all the difference heads up. I'm a big fan of Andreas Eiler. He's an awesome player.
Yeah, he just, I mean, Andreas, like, he picked up a couple of big hands, like kings once and stuff, but he just, whenever he didn't start with a pair, he just rarely flopped a pair.
Right. Yeah, that will kill you in heads up.
Yeah, I don't care how good a heads-up player, if you're never making pairs, it's difficult.
Yeah.
So a raise from McDonald. Smith calls. Maria says, okay, let's see a flop. And Maria flops top pair. Maria also the only one in this hand who has a heart. Not literal heart, but a heart in her hand. I can neither confirm nor deny if McDonald actually has a heart.
Yeah, it was funny. Ho 3-bet King 3 off from the big blind earlier, I think, if I remember correctly. This time elected to call. I think it's actually worse to call this time, given that. Yeah, the 3-bet has more fold equity. Well, actually, sorry, she's too short now, isn't she? Yeah. 25 bigs. That's too ugly to 3-bet. If she had like 35 bigs, then I'd like it a lot more.
It has Maria at 200,000 chips. I didn't see that many. Maybe she won a pot that we didn't notice. But she should win this one. Although, that's a really dangerous turn card. McDonald open-ended now.
This really is the dream card for McDonald.
Yeah, I was going to say, there weren't that many cards that actually gave him 7 and a jack were the only 2 cards that kind of gave him equity.
Yeah, but then also the jack is an overcard to the second pair, which makes it a lot better to bluff on.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean the 7 is good, but it sort of hits Maria's range quite hard. You know, she has a lot of 8-7.
He bets 56,000.
So
Maria with
half pot,
179 behind. Just a call?
The pot will be about 200 on the river with about 100.
She'll have 123 behind.
Yeah, I mean I think it's fine. It's actually quite similar to that spot we saw earlier, where she had the set versus the turn versus the flop straight, where she turned the set.
Right.
And in that hand, in that spot, her hand was so strong, and you know, the problem with calling is that you can't expect your opponent to bluff the river too much. On this occasion, that is actually really useful, because given
well, if the jack was a good bluff card, how's the ace for you?
Yeah, the ace, pretty good. McDonald doesn't have too many aces. I guess he probably would bet ace queen on the flop and turn. Would make some sense. Obviously, queen 10 he has.
All in?
Yeah, nice.
Wow, and he moves all in here.
That's